I'm Sabrina Shaw. I'm a local real estate agent here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I make these videos for you so that if you're thinking about making that move to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or any of our surrounding suburbs like Bixby, Oklahoma, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, Jenks, Oklahoma, Owasso, Oklahoma, or Bixby, Oklahoma, you reach out to me and you'll talk to me or you'll talk to somebody from my team, and it doesn't matter if it's 9 days, 90 days, 9 months. If you're coming into town this weekend, it's never too early and it's never too late to reach out to us, and we would love to show you around town. If you're thinking about making a move to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or one of our surrounding suburbs like Bixby, Oklahoma, Jenks, Oklahoma, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, or Owasso, Oklahoma, and you want to know what is going on with real estate in the second part of 2024, then you're going to want to stay and watch this video. Today is a 2-part series that I'm going to bring you about what is going on in the housing market nationally, and then drilling that down to our Tulsa area market. And one thing that is really important to me that I am always trying to do is clarify and not terrify with headlines, because when you look at housing headlines, it looks really skewed. So actually taking the data, drilling it down, and giving you a clear picture of what's happened historically, what predictions are, and what we're actually seeing in today's market. So starting with the chief economist from NAR, Lawrence Yun, what we've seen is we have seen real estate sales across the nation slow to 30-year lows. Now that is not meaning depreciation, that's meaning like actual home sales. What we also know is there are 70 million more Americans than there were 30 years ago. So the population increase does affect, the buying and selling and inventory. So we've seen that slow down because of interest rates, because interest rates have gotten so high, raised so quickly that, it has really disrupted affordability quite a bit, has knocked some people out of the market, has caused some people to take a pause. But at the end of the day, there are always life changes. There's 70 more million people in the market than there were 30 years ago. So there's always going to be, buying and selling. So even though that has slowed, inevitably home sales will go up within the next 5 years. Will continue to go up as our population does. Now we are seeing a lot of new home construction. We are starting to see more sales on the market. So that is good news for consumers, for buyers. So this is the 2024 home sales forecast in millions, saying, that nationally we expect between 4.8 as a low and 4.8 million to 5 million home sales to happen nationally. That's Fannie Mae, MBA, and NAR, which gives us, 4.9 million. So again, quoting Lawrence Young, well, I'm not quoting him, I'm summarizing his quote. We're at an interesting time because we are seeing more inventory. Because of that, we don't foresee the runaway home price appreciation, which is continue to go forward, would be pretty detrimental for an average home buyer. Now, because mortgage rates have been at an all-time high. Okay, so if you hear the little, come here, Weenie, come here, baby girl. We've got the babies. I just leave them out instead of putting them up because they whine whenever I put them up when I'm recording. So if you hear the little pitter patter, which people always comment that they do, it's the girls, Mia and Winter. So again, just noting Lawrence Young, the market is at an interesting point because we are starting to see inventory rise. I'm going to show you what that looks like and compare it to 2019, which is pre-pandemic, which is really a great eye-opener. And I'll do that at the end of this video. But because interest rates are so high, demand is lower. But with more inventory, with job creation, with the feds, cutting rates somewhat, we should start to see real estate pick up. But again, that does not mean runaway price depreciation, because I do not think that we will ever see interest rates, to the lows that we saw, to what we saw in 2020. Yes, we're going to see rates lower, I believe, and anyone who tries to predict rates, we were trying all along, we were trying to predict rates thinking, certainly they're going to go down, and they just haven't. But the Fed is indicating that we'll see rate cuts in September, November, possibly December, and I'll go over that in part 2 more. So with that being said, this is the home price forecast of appreciation for 2024. So you've got Freddie Mac saying as little as 5%, so not even 1% for all of 2024. And then you've got Fannie Mae saying 4.8%. So when you have the experts predicting their home price appreciation, we're getting at about 2.8 appreciation, which is pretty normal appreciation. It's actually a little bit lower than normal, but for the, for the economic environment that we're in, that's good appreciation for the housing market. And again, that's for people. And again, I want to, I'm really giving you this information to show that, yes, although we're going to have more normal appreciation, no one's projecting home prices to go down. If they are, it's very low depreciation or just flat. So the cost of waiting is there. And that reason being is the inventory situation. So even though we are seeing inventory rise, and with interest rates, that seller demand is lower, we still don't have an abundance of housing, and that's not being projected in the near future. And this is one of my favorite slides, is a buyer's market and a seller's market. Again, this is from the experts that I pay attention to and listen to. And I would say really is probably 5 to 6 months in today's climate. But with where we're at, the buyer's market, 2008 and 2010, look at this. That was over 11 months supply of inventory, over 12 in 2010. So, today, and this has gone up. When I did this slide, the inventory has gone up a little bit more, but we are historically still in a seller's market. So when you look at these numbers compared to these numbers, we're not in that situation again. And of course, I'm on YouTube, so I watch YouTube, and I know people predicting the housing crash, but the numbers don't make sense. And I'll show you another slide. I think that I have it in this one. It might not be part 2 of just the equity that we have in this country and the position that we're in as homeowners with equity. Here we have the mortgage rate projections, and this was done in June of 2024. Next week, I've got a more updated that's going to talk about part 2 for next week. I have updated mortgage rate projections because they just came out. And these are an average of NAR, MBA, and Fannie Mae. So looking at Q3 at 6.8, Q4 2024 6.67, 2025 6.5, and Q1 and Q2 2025 6.4. And I think that is actually down a little bit. I know it is, but these are the projections. We are seeing that it looks like interest rates will be going down. And again, we've got the actual and projected just in a different kind of graph. And we see that we were at that all-time high of right around 7.5, which they were hoping to really, really slow the market. And it did, but not as much as the Fed wanted or projected originally. When will the Federal Reserve cut the Fed rate? I am going to skip over this because I am going to talk more about that next week, because we do have updated information. Again, the price of waiting is that we think that real estate, for the next 5 years is going to continue to appreciate. Dennis Skov, adjunct professor of economics at City University of New York, is explaining probably going to see an ebb and flow, but for 5 years, projecting 5 years out, we're going to see, continued home appreciation, just not that high level of appreciation, but also how important it is locally. So Oklahoma, Tulsa mirrors a lot nationally, but there's so many differences in your local markets, your suburbs. Tulsa varies completely from the Tulsa average to Bixby to Jenks to Broken Arrow. Data is very local, neighborhoods, suburb specific. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as you're looking. Now, this was a fun one because people are asking me a lot, how the 2024 election is going to affect the real estate market. And I found this so interesting. And so I'm excited to share this for you. I'm just going to read this one verbatim. Presidential election years affect the national housing market and mortgage rates through 3 interrelated channels: uncertainty, policy expectations, and consumer confidence. And this is because consumers may choose to postpone major purchases or sales until they gain greater confidence in the country's direction. So when it talks about uncertainty, the 2008 for that election, we had the global financial crisis and the recession. 2012, we had the fiscal cliff. We had that major healthcare expansion. European debt crisis. 2016, you had Brexit. 2020, you had the global pandemic. And right now we're facing, super high inflation and war. Now, Ali Wolf, chief economist at Zonda, says that, usually the election doesn't change home sales except in November, where November is slower than normal. And this next slide shows you, so like November home sales are slower just historically, like it's a slower time to sell a house in November. So typically you're seeing a 9.8% drop in home sales in a non-election year. In an election year, you're seeing a 15% drop in home sales. But we gain that back because, again, it's that uncertainty, what's going to happen. So you have people just kind of holding off to see, whether their candidate wins. But that usually makes up regardless of the outcome. So home sales went up 9 of the last 11 presidential elections. So if you look at this, going back to 1980, home sales went down after 1980 and they went down after 1988. Every other election, home sales went up. 1984, they were 2.8, 1985, 3.2. Just going more recent, 2008, 4.1, 2009, 4.3, 2016, 5.4, 2017, 5.5. So they did go up, but not really that much. And then 2020, 5.6, 2021, 6.1 million. And if you remember that I told you, so looking at this from 2020 to 2021, 6.1 million home sales, whereas we were at 4.9 million that they're projecting for 2024. So, roughly a quarter of the market from 2021. An election year doesn't alter the price trend that's already happening in the market. So election year and the year after, prices are still going up, inconsiderably what we saw from 2020 to 2021. And that's existing home prices. And then new home prices went up 10 of the past 11 presidential elections, and with the exception of, 2008 presidential elections. So again, even though we have a sharp decline in November, in December following an election, that following year, the sales that were lost in November they're made up the following year. It's not that consumers are saying, I don't want to buy ever. It's like, I'm nervous. I want to hold off. I'll wait to buy. Now, I'm wondering, because of the way that mortgage rates are projected to decrease, if we will see this alter a little bit, just because there is so much pent-up buyer demand because of interest rates. And do mortgage rates decrease leading up to presidential elections? In 8 of the last 11 presidential elections, they have. So 2016, they actually increased a little bit, a little over 0.25%, but most other elections, they did decrease prior to the presidential election. But I think Bankrate says that for most Americans, the election results are not going to a direct result on their income. And, I think that there's going to be, a lot of people that would strongly agree and strongly disagree with that. But saying that shouldn't affect your decision to buy a home because you're not financially impacted. But again, I see a lot of disagreement with that. Okay, next week's video, August numbers should be out. And so I really want to compare both. Today I'm doing July, and next week I'm going to do August numbers simply because they're 30 days behind. But what I did is I pulled July of 2024, and this is Tulsa County information. And then I went and I pulled 2019 of July Tulsa County information, because I really wanted to compare, what the real estate climate looks like today as compared to what it looked like in 2019, which was our last normal year before the market got, just with the runaway appreciation and got pretty crazy. And, there was a number of things, the low interest rates, low supply. And so July 2019 was when I was a newer agent, and the market was great. It was considered a great market. I remember one of my mentors told me, don't get used to this market. It's not how it's always going to be. Of course, then we had, 2020 through 2022, things did change, but just I want to compare to a normal market. So July of 2019, we had 977 closed listings. And I take that to now, and we had 778. So we've had quite a lower. I mean, that's almost 20% less sales now this year, July 2024, than we had in July 2019. Average list price 2024, again, this is Tulsa County, was $345,628. 8.87% appreciation compared to July numbers in 2023. So still, even in the rougher year, we still had that appreciation in Tulsa County of almost 9%. And when I go back to 2019, the average list price was $231,691. Wow. And in 2018, the prior year was $213,000. So again, we saw that 8.72% appreciation. And that was list price. I should have looked at sales price, $226,480, 9.25% appreciation from 2018, where it was $207,305. So if I pull that back up for 2024, $340,000 average sold price, which was 8.69% appreciation, roughly the same, a little less than 2019 year over year. Average percent of selling price to list price. In July of 2024, that was 98.94% of sell price to list price. And that's so interesting to me because, again, we have sellers feeling like it's 2020 and buyers feeling like it's 2008. So we will have some, so there is a big disconnect about what you can go in and get. But with that being said, my real estate partner, Kathy, is like an amazing negotiation expert. And, she really does fantastic for our clients when there's that opportunity to get a discount, and she does. And that definitely equals out more than the average. But just keeping this in mind, that the average price of selling to list price is 98.9%. Last year in 2023, it was 99%. When we go back to 2019, it was 98.34%. Prior to that, in 2018, it was 97%. Just showing you, I geek out on numbers. I absolutely love going through these. I like having that knowledge for me to where the headlines don't go into my head. I know what a normal market looks like. I know what this market looks like, and just really helps us guide you guys by, knowing this and looking at this. So I do, hope that this is very helpful to you. And let's look at our average days on market to sell. And July of 2019, 32 days on market was the average. In 2018, it was 37. In 2019, we were seeing that decrease, 13% decrease in days on market. Okay, 32 in 2019. So let's take that to 2024. 30 days. So average days on market is still lower than it was 2019. Now that's up 34% from 2023, when the average days on market was 22 days. And again, we are seeing more inventory come up, and we are seeing buyers definitely be more selective in the homes that they choose. And, pricing is just critical and so important. And, pricing right from the very, very beginning gives you the best chance to get the most amount of money. I'm seeing, a lot of sellers that are wanting to cushion, for negotiation room, and that's an absolute mistake. You price it right in the beginning, and we see you get the most amount. Okay, now here's another one. End of month inventory. So in 2024, or right now in July, 1,929 homes on the market in Tulsa County. Back in 2019 and back in 2023, a year ago from July, 1,562. So we have had a 23% increase of homes coming on the market. Looking at that at 2019, there were 2,588. So there were still more homes on the market in 2019 than there are today. And look, from 2018, there were 3,384. So that 2,588 is a 23% drop in inventory from the previous year, but still lower considerably lower than our 2024 numbers. So again, we have that buyers and sellers market, and we have supply and demand, and we talk about why, even with high interest rates, why the market hasn't, many economists were calling for, I think the experts that were in the industry knew that it wasn't going to happen, that, home prices weren't going to collapse. But economists, weren't thinking that way. But again, it's just that in relation to, we've seen, the population increase, we've seen, the housing supply go down, and it's just simply, supply and demand. Okay, and then we go to months supply of inventory. And once I put my glasses on once, I swear I can't see after that. So I'm going to have to put them on to read the rest of this. So 2024, we're at 2.82 months supply of inventory in Tulsa County. Remember the graph that I showed you said 5 to 6 months is a balanced market. Really, it could be 4 to 6 because interest rates are so high. We're feeling, even though we're in a seller's market, we are seeing buyer concessions because of the climate at the market. But still, 2.82 is a seller's market. 2023, it was 2.12 months supply of inventory. What that means is if no more houses came on the market and you had all the buyers that were in the market as they are right now, it would take 2.82 months to deplete all the housing in the MLS or available to purchase. So then going back to 2019, we had 3.10 months supply of inventory, down from 4 months supply in 2018. So remember that normal market, it was a normal good market because it was still hard to be working with investors, wanting to get that deal, wanting to, flip the property. It was hard to get properties for that great price at that time, way under asking. We were seeing multiple offers in 2019. Nothing like what we saw in 2020, 2021, part of 2022. And let me tell you, there's still multiple offers going on today in certain price ranges. And I'll drill down a little bit more as we go strictly on 2024's data. And certain price ranges have even lower months supply of inventory. So that is competitive, especially when you're in these price ranges that are lower and you have, a lot more competition, a lot more buyers, and the house is priced right, it's taken care of, move-in ready. Those houses are going quickly, and they are going with multiple offers. So again, I want to compare, let me know if this is helpful to you. Do you like me comparing 2019 to 2024? Does that give you perspective? Is that helpful to you? I would really love to know that. Okay, so we're finished for 2019 right now, comparing to July, but I want to go back here and just show you a little bit more of what I was talking about. Oh, no, there's one more thing I want to show you from 2019 that I find very interesting. Okay, so here are months supply of inventory. So when we are at between 125,000 to 225,000 for a 3-bedroom house, we've got 2.2 months supply of inventory. 4-bedroom, 1.86 months supply of inventory. 225 to 275, 3-bedroom is 2.2 months supply of inventory. 4-bedroom is 1.86. 275 to 400,000, 3-bedroom is 2.86. 4-bedroom is 2.66. Now here's where you go 4 to 425, a 3-bedroom, you've got 6.59 per month supply of inventory. Definitely more of a buyer's market. Some call it neutral, some call it buyers. I would say buyer's market for sure in that 3-bedroom. Now when you get down to 4 bedrooms in that price range, it goes down 3.45. The houses that are 3 bedrooms, 4 to 525, you've got an abundance. Interestingly, 525 to 700, in that 3 bedrooms, you've got a 4-month supply, which is less, and 4 bedrooms, you've got 5.2 month supply. You get up to 700 and above. 3 bedrooms is 6.4 month supply, and 700 is 5.53. So again, you've got that neutral market. You've got, more ability to get some incentives, but that sweet spot for a buyer to really get a ton of incentives is going to be that 4 to 525 in that 3-bedroom range. But you've got to think, okay, how many buyers in that 4 to 525 range are looking for a 3-bedroom house? And there are some. Average days on market to sell. Our least amount of days on market is in that $175,000 to $225,000 price range, where we're seeing that 7 days on market. our highest 525 and up at 66 days. Okay, average list to close price. Oh, okay, average sold price. And this is where I want to go back to 2019 to 225 to 300,000 is where you've got basically 27% of your buyers are in that price range. And the average being sold there is like 262, 268. So that is where most of your buyers are coming from. Now you still have at 3 to 400, you've got 18%. 4 to 525, you've got 11%, and 525 and up, you've got 11%. Looking at that at 2019, things are really different because look, we had 350,000 and up. We didn't even have a 500 and above. So that higher price range is growing. We are seeing that market grow. And you know, this shows, so 12% we're in 350 and up. We didn't even get to, now, could that have been 500,000? Obviously, yes. A 4-bedroom, the average was 559. Average 4-bedroom now, 739. So just a difference, but just how the price ranges and, you know, the buyers have changed on what they're looking for. 150 to 200,000 at 24% of buyers, where most of our buyers are 225 to 300. So that, you know, kind of follows the normal pattern of, you know, how many more people are shopping in that higher price range. This is a great one too, average sold list. So 175 to 225, 3 bedrooms, it's averaging 101%. So over ask still. 225 to 300, 99.1. For 4 bedrooms, 102. Even in today's climate, just showing you that we're seeing over ask. 3 to 400, 99%. 4 bedrooms, 98%. 4 to 525, 98.5%. 4 bedrooms, 99%. 525 and up, 97% for 3 bedrooms and 98% for 4 bedrooms. And then, of course, you've got to remember they're an average. You definitely see vast differences, you know, when you're going through the data. Okay, so then just a quick snapshot again. Sales prices in Tulsa County are still up from last year. New listings are up, which is great. Seeing more inventory on the market, that's good for buyers to have more choices. Days on market is up. Sales to list ratio is down, so getting a little bit more concession, a little more price off. Month supply of inventory is up, and our active inventory is up. I hope this information was helpful. Again, next week I am going to talk to you about what we're going to see as 2024 as far as mortgage rates, as far as inventory, the market, definitely some new predictions from when I've done this with the new Fed meeting that just happened, but it's way too long to put in one video. I hope this information is helpful. We can drill down by suburb, we can drill down by neighborhood, and it's just so much different. And when you look at doing an average of something, does not give you a full picture or a snapshot. So if you're thinking about making that move to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or any of our surrounding suburbs, you know, reach out to me. We will definitely go over the data, look at your wants and your needs, and get you in that right house. And again, it doesn't matter if you're moving in 9 days, 90 days, 9 months. It's never too early, and it is never too late to give us a call. You'll either talk to me, you'll talk to somebody from my team, but we would love to show you around town.